scent of the Navang Gala, Soryn Dechart said, tilting her head skyward, sampling her best impression of the Imperator. So fresh, so clean, so productive, wouldn't you say? Nün'Primstaph, the eldest of the Nün currently sitting on the Sagekind Council, nodded, herself ingesting a breath of coven air. The moon was full, and through the pyramidal grate above it cast a silvery light over the Sagekind coven.
Yes,
Primstaph said.
the Navang serves its bounty upon us. For that, we are thankful.
Ah, right, Soryn mused. Thankful. Speaking of which, she paused, halting the entourage of flaxers and various Nün who trailed behind them. The Totality Imperator expresses his thanks for your willingness to meet on such short notice. You understand, of course, his absence. Primstaph dipped her neck, nodding. And that I speak on his behalf, Soryn added hurriedly. The Nün nodded once again, smiled.
But of course, my lady.
A Sagekind passed, then another, their robes a swishing whisper. Between them they led a girl no older than 16, Earth dimensional time, years old. She looked pregnant. An escaped Nightlighter, Soryn thought, looking after them. It would be only a few days till she was returned to the sky structure, resubmitted for analysis with the Imperator. The Sagekind are diligent in their end of the agreement. The flaxers in the entourage followed them with helmeted stares, stained silver by the moonlight. Their hum idled, pierced the ethereal quiet of the coven, Primstaph said.
Shall we take a look?
Soryn cocked her head. Hide my confusion. Look fronted. Look?
Why, yes. The frequencies, my lady. The reason for your visit.
Right. Of course. The frequencies. Soryn couldn't be more ambivalent toward the Imperator's obsession with the white-blue, no less with what they'd done to her. She put on a smile, met the Nün's gaze. The Imperator is pleased with your most recent report. 30,000 hectogallons. The agreement is flourishing, it seems.
You flatter me, my lady,
Primstaph said, her eyes kind and round like little white pearls. But something felt off about them, as if they were competing for something, hungry for information.
A Nightlighter of your status?
Soryn winced, the Sagekin already apologizing.
Apologies, Miss Dechart. I misspoke.
An old title, forgotten. A title, indeed. That's all it was, all it ever was. Soryn chuckled for the Sagekin's benefit, though it would take more to assuage her own nerves. The Imperator's interests... She paused, her tone darkening. Well, let's just say his priorities have shifted, graduated to a younger breed. Nightlighter, Soryn thought, measuring Primstaff's gaze, sucking it of its antiquated stature. The title follows me like a shadow. The things I sacrifice to achieve it. Dama, will I ever escape it? Escape the Imperator? Impossible. I'd have to kill him. Primstaph shifted her footing.
Yes, right, well, each Mistanak we learn something new. And perhaps this will be our last.
They were in the northwestern corner of the coven, where Sagekind hovels bordered markings of industry and lush vegetation. Darkwood trees and myriad vapoid roots, their stumpy branch-like appendages barely a foot above the ground. Before them was the wide, open-mouthed entryway to the Primavadum passageway, the tunnels, as it was more commonly known. The entourage processed inside, the Nün in unison applying their hoods to protect against the sudden drop in temperature. "Is it always this cold?" Soryn asked, snapping her fingers, a workman appearing moments later to drape a heavy cloak over her.
But a necessary part of the process.
Primstaph said.
The final cooling stage before being deposited into the lake. These frequencies.
A Sagekind passed, pushing a cart along a set of tracks. Primstaph dipped her hand into it, retracting it seconds later. A liquid so light, a shade of blue it was nearly white, bubbled in her cupped palm, its consistency between that of gelatin and water. She raised it for Soryn to see.
They be a finicky thing. Over the cycles we've discovered they're temperamental at best. Not too fond of the outside elements. Our analyses of the histories indicate that our old world ancestors failed to contain the frequency's power. So pressured they were to create an alternative energy source, one to perpetuate life, to save the planet. A shame that it destroyed them in the end. Ironic, really.
"Ironic?" Soryn said, raising an eyebrow. "Yet you've read the histories."
That and the Imperator's volume. He goes to great lengths when cataloging the old world's downfall.
Soryn huffed. "No, not the volume. Forget that baft." Primstaph shot her a look, but Soryn diffused it with a dismissive wave. "I'd say expected. Tragic, even. They had a chance to promote peace, to come together, to celebrate the frequencies, their creation. Instead, they had it squandered. Their obsession was their downfall. And now the Imperator." She drifted a moment, then, "Ah, well, such is the thorn in our side." The further they progressed into the tunnels, the colder it became, and darker. The track between them faded with each step. Soryn now relied on the Sagekind for direction. "So where are you taking us?" Soryn asked, working to maintain control of the conversation, compensate for her lack of direction.
To see the solution to the old world's folly.
Primstaph said, her voice as smooth as water over stone.
Our blessing. Bestowed upon us by the core. The very same who blessed the Imperator.
The core. Blessings, Soryn thought, walking in stride with Primstaph. Prophecy of Baft. "Show me then," she grunted. "Show me this blessing."